What would happen if every human being on Earth disappeared? At some point in the future, this could be the fate of our planet. This isn't the story of how we might vanish. It is the story of what happens to the world we leave behind.
The New Orleans Center for Creative Arts is a professional arts and academics training facility in the Marigny district of New Orleans. In a world without people, this facility proves useless. In the time of humans, the institution would welcome over 500 students per day, with more than 30 faculty giving them some of the best arts and academic training in the country. Now, it sits empty. Without anyone working at the power station along Elysian Fields, NOCCA managed to maintain power thanks to a backup generator. Now the generator has exhausted its fuel and NOCCA loses all power. Food in the culinary studio, vending machines, and refrigerators across the campus begin the process of decomposition. This will spell disaster for much of the campus and the surrounding neighborhood. As the food across the campus has decomposed and rotted, animals have taken hold of the different studios, especially the trash cans and other areas where food is out in the open. Mammals like rats and raccoons begin to infiltrate the building, with the more clever raccoons opening small fridges and offices. In 2005, after Hurricane Katrina shut down the city of New Orleans, refrigerators sat for weeks to months without running power, which attributed to the breakdown of all foods inside. This food became so toxic and hazardous that they would melt the plastic and corrode the metals inside, and the fridges were deemed biohazards by local governments. Now, this toxic past is being repeated without anyone to stop it. "4 years after people, the school has become a nesting ground for rodents and a playground for vines to ascend and grow. New Orleans now gets a direct hit from a Category 2 hurricane. The storm blasts the school with winds in excess of 100 miles per hour, blasting open windows, ripping off shingles, and damaging panels on the NOCCA E building. Now that water and moisture can enter the building with little resistance, black mold grows and deteriorates the drywall throughout the campus. NOCCA has begun to rot. "30 years after people, New Orleans has been returned to its former swampland. However, NOCCA sits 10 feet above sea level, so it is left high and dry compared to the business district. 30 years without people is a history NOCCA has already faced before. During the 20th century, NOCCA was the lower cotton press building, which changed roles from a train station to a storage warehouse. With little maintenance, the building fell apart. This past would be repeated in a world 30 years after people. A century without people has not been kind to the old cotton press buildings. Decades without management have contributed to cracks all along the building's facade and collapsed roofs and floors throughout the building. Now, the building's nearly 300-year-old wood support beams give way one by one, and the building is reduced to rubble within seconds. "300 years after people, the NOCCA E building has withstood the test of time. With very few skyscrapers left standing in New Orleans, the 90-foot-tall NOCCA E building stands above the rubble of destroyed skyscrapers. However, its time has run out. The E building is supported by steel beams encased within concrete, a feature that has allowed One Shell Square in downtown New Orleans to survive this long as well. However, all good things must come to an end. The collapse begins in the atrium, where the ceilings are not as supported as other areas in the building. This sends the rest of the building into a catastrophic breakdown of the supporting beams. In under 30 seconds, the E building is just a pile of mangled steel. 10,000 years after people, NOCCA is long forgotten, or so one would think. Though the site of NOCCA has been buried under sediment, underneath it some pieces of NOCCA remain. Pottery and ceramics from visual arts have withstood nature's best efforts to corrode it, making a valuable treasure for archaeologists of the future. Pieces of steel and computer chips from various media arts devices are buried along with it, along with brass instruments and metal pieces from the instrumental departments. NOCCA's history still remains dozens of feet underground.